If you're a mortgage broker, you're probably already aware that you need to be making organic content on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, even on YouTube to actually generate new leads, new viewers, bring new people into your ecosystem. So that way you can generate your own leads and actually create your own business as opposed to being so dependent on just waiting on the phone to ring, as opposed to being dependent on developing new relationships with introducers and having external sources for your leads and business and bringing that in-house. That way you're responsible for how much business you write each month and you can control the growth of your business that way as well. And yeah, it's only a new concept that's really coming into the mortgage industry. And yes, by all means, I'm not even saying that anybody's doing anything bad. There are a lot of people who are developing very good content strategies and they're doing very well with it as well. With that being said, there are some people who are still obviously a little bit behind the times, but it is what it is. I want to talk about the positives that are happening with the content strategy in the mortgage industry at the minute. I want to talk about the negatives. And I want to talk about ways that everybody who's watching this right now can take actionable pieces of advice from this video and implement it into their current content strategy. If you even have a content strategy, because you might be hearing this and saying, oh, well, I just make videos and talk to my audience. But I want to talk about content strategy and I want to talk about the purpose of organic content. That way, instead of just sitting down and recording and doing this stuff for the sake of it as a tick box exercise, as a chore, as something that you feel almost scornful or negative about spending money on because you just see it as a cost and flushing money down the drain. I want to come up with a proper strategy that you can use and implement and invest into and generate an increase in your returns on that, as opposed to just having this as a cost or a tick box exercise. So all that being said, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to actually get into this and break it down for you so you can see where I observe the industry to be, where I see other people doing better, and how we can bridge that gap between where mortgages are currently and where those who are making serious dough from content are, and how we can bridge that as well. So let's get into it. As it stands right now, you've probably watched some of the other guys in the space who make videos similar to this, similar to the types of videos that I make. You've got your Gary Daz, Ash Borland, Dan Reddish doesn't talk quite so much about content, but the point is that I'm not the first person who's talking about this. And what you'll hear, more than likely, from those guys is whenever it comes to making up, this is me trying to quote them, whenever it comes to coming up with content ideas, all you're going to want to do is just go through all the questions that your current leads and your current prospects, your current clients ask you, put them down in a notebook, and just make videos about the problems that people ask you. Just pick up your phone and just speak about the problems. So let's say someone says, can I get away with a 5% deposit? Make a video about eligibility when it comes to deposits. And do not get me wrong, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that strategy. You're going to get people who have questions and things that are unanswered to them and uncertainties. If you can provide the answer to them for free, you're giving them goodwill and you're building up trust and you're going to nurture that person along the trajectory of stranger all the way through to someone who's buying your product and actually working with you. So that's the purpose of content at the end of the day. You want to nurture that person and develop that relationship and get them to like, know, and trust you. But it doesn't mean that just because I'm giving you a thumbs up on that, that, you know, you can just call it a day there. I'm like, okay, my content's fine. It's okay. Well, I'm doing what those guys are doing. Emmett said it was good, so I'm just going to keep doing it. Because, yeah, it works, but you have to ask yourself, what is actually the purpose of content? Because I've said that those videos, the outcome of those is that people get to like, know, and trust you a little bit better. But that's only one feature of your organic content. What is the overall purpose of the content? Yes, answering questions that people have is one of the purposes of content. But at the end of the day, I want to relate this back to what you want from it. And what you want from it is more business, more clients. So you need to relate your content to the buyer's journey or the client journey, so to speak. And the client journey is going to be going from complete stranger to prospect/lead. And then you could go as far as saying there's engaged leads as well, and then there's clients. But the point is that you've got complete stranger the whole way through to someone who actually works with you and buys your service. So how can you relate your content from this end to the other? Yeah, in between there, you're going to need to get them to like, know, and trust you. But the thing is as well, is that you need to get people into that system in the first place. You need to get people to know you. And you're not necessarily just going to get someone to know you by just, you know, whipping out your phone, So you're looking to buy a house and you're wondering, can you get away with a 5% deposit? Like, yeah, by all means, someone with that very specific query is going to go ahead and get interested in that. I'm not saying this, again, like I'm saying, this isn't a bad idea, but if I was looking for financial service advice, I go to a financial advisor. If I was looking for health advice, I go to a doctor. If I was looking for organic content advice, I go to an organic content guru, so to speak. And this is the purpose of the video today. There are loads and loads and loads of tactics and strategies and features that you can implement into your content to improve it that I don't see anyone doing in mortgages whatsoever. And I'm going to jump onto the laptop to go through some of these. But for example, you want to hook viewers into your video. As far as hooks go, the majority, all that I can really see is, like I said, the example that I just did there now. Are you looking to buy a home? Wonder, can you get away with 5% deposit? Are you this person looking for this? Do you want this? Well, watch this video. And don't get me wrong, yeah, it's a hook, and you're going to capture people's attention, but every once in a while, you'll see a video go viral, like 10 million views, with just a silly hook, like a trend, for example. Or you'll see a video get 10 million views off the back of following a trend, regardless of the hook. And you might be, I know straight away where people's thoughts are going to be going, oh, I'm not going to start doing Instagram dances and Instagram trends. It's going to attract the wrong buyers. I don't want to do that. It's too immature for me. But again, it's like, ask yourself, what is the purpose of the content? It's just, it's awareness, it's top of funnel. It's getting strangers into your system. And views is going to get people into your system. Like, yeah, by all means, you might attract some people who are of low quality, whatever it may be, but you're going to attract the high quality people as well. If you attract 10,000 people, but only 5% of those are good quality, I would still take that 5% of 10,000 compared to 50% of 100, for example. I hope there's not, I haven't done the calculations in my head, but I hope that those numbers add up. You see the point that I'm trying to make, though. I would rather have more high quality buyers, even if they're a smaller proportion of my audience, compared to having a high proportion of my audience being good buyers and having a smaller audience. You know what I mean? So the point that I'm trying to make is that, yes, that content of just speaking to people's problems is absolutely going to nurture them, but at the same time, there are plenty of things that you can do. You can follow trends. You can implement effective visual hooks, for example, as opposed to just speaking. You can implement storytelling. You can implement effective call to actions and giveaways. You can introduce new ideas and new value to the market, as opposed to just reiterating what other people are doing, copying what everybody else is doing. And yeah, that's a story for another day about copying other people's content strategies. But the point is that there's a lot being left on the table, as opposed to just picking up the phone and just talking about a problem. Yes, like I said, it works, but there's so much more that can be done. And relating it back to the customer journey, you want to get someone from stranger all the way through to working with you. There's going to be different types of content for each stage. At the start, it's going to be more of that awareness stuff of just getting people into the funnel in the first place. How is this person going to find out that I exist? At which point you want to start talking about problems that you know people at the start of that buyer journey are going to be facing. Can I get a home with a 5% deposit? How much can I afford to borrow? So on and so forth, your standard stuff. Then you're going to want to move on to your testimonials, your social proof, a bit more about you and your story and who you help specifically, and giving that person more niche information on you specifically. So sell them on the process, sell them on you, work with them ultimately. So I hope that has made some form of sense. Basically what I'm trying to say is that just speaking to a camera and answering people's problems, yes, it works, but there's so much more that you can be doing as well. And if you want to move away from the idea of just having social media as a tick box exercise and just something that you feel that you're forced to do, it's a cost, it's a chore. It doesn't have to be that way. It can very much be an investment into your business, and it can give you a way to have full autonomy over where your business and your clients come from, as opposed to having to rely on these external factors, which is what we're seeing people turn to. We see people turn to working within producers who have nothing to do with their business and no actual incentive to see your business grow. We see people buying leads and having that not work out because the lead has no idea who they are, and paying 70 quid only to speak on the phone with someone. They said, "Oh, well, I was just having a laugh on a Saturday night over a glass of wine," because that's the only other alternative. And we see that it's not working for people. And then they'll just resort to working with their current client base, working off the word of mouth and their referrals come from that, and stagnating and staying in the same place. So you can absolutely do it with your organic strategy. And I want to go through some things that you can try and implement yourself as well when it comes to the storytelling. I give you some people that you can take inspiration from as well. So let's jump on the laptop. Let's run through a couple of the ideas.
Okay, guys, so what do I actually mean by content strategy? What are these specific things that you can implement to get more people watching your stuff, entering your system, and ultimately looking to buy from you at the end of the day? So we'll go through a couple of these. I've done this out content strategy, and what I'm going to do is I've drawn out a couple of different points. I'm going to give you a few references from people who are hands up better at this stuff than I am. I'm not pretending that I'm the best on the planet, but I can learn from the best. I can implement new things. I can iterate, and I can even come up with better ideas in some instances as well, but I'll give you the references that you can go and learn from source. The first thing that you can straight away start implementing, and you'll see good results from this, is visual hooks. So what do I mean by this? Obviously, when it comes to hooks, you can just say, are you looking to buy a house, but you're wondering, can you get away with a 5% deposit? Are you looking to remortgage, but you've changed jobs and you're wondering how it's going to affect your deal? So on and so forth. You can do those hooks, but you can do visual hooks as well. You need to understand what it is that you're competing with. And yeah, niche messaging works, but at the end of the day, it's top of funnel content. You're trying to get people aware of who you are, and a visual hook will make someone aware of your service more so than niche messaging. So the person that I wanted to reference for this was Ava, personal brand launch. These guys absolutely kill when it comes to social media and when it comes to developing proper content strategies as well. So I'm going to let you guys go and have a look specifically at everything that it was doing when it comes to short tips, when it comes to things that you can do to improve your content. I 100% recommend you go ahead, have a look at the page, go through some different videos as well. And I'm pretty sure, even, so having a look at this before I started recording, there's a video here, 5 creative visual hooks that you should steal. And if you go ahead and literally just comment in the video, then you can go ahead and get a list of like 70 hooks or something like that. 1,000 viral fill in the blank template hooks, comment hook, and I'll send it over. And you can take it straight from the source as opposed to taking it from me. But that's just something you can do. And whenever I say visual hooks, by the way, I just mean something that is visual on the screen that's actually going to capture someone's attention. You have to realize what you're competing against. People are scrolling on their phone, quick dopamine, so on and so forth. Catch their attention with something visual. It'll get them to watch the rest of the video, see your face and focus on you and get to know you a bit more. That's what's going to build that relationship and get people into your system. Stage 2, we have storytelling. So whenever I say storytelling, I'll break this down really super simply. You can make a video. Are you this person looking through this? Oh, well, if that's you, here's this cool piece of information, and then end the video. That's like a very basic video. But whenever it comes to storytelling, you can go ahead and say, I worked with client X. We started off speaking to each other, all was good, but then we saw this problem. After this problem happened, it felt like the world was on flames and everything was tumbling down. I was stressed through the roof, pulling my hair out. I didn't know what I was going to do. But that was until I came across this. And this was absolutely revolutionary. It felt like the sun broke through the clouds and shone on my face. And if it weren't for this, we wouldn't have been able to get this person this, which meant so much to him and his family, and he's so much better off as a result of it. And that is why X is so important. That's a story. Okay, as opposed to just, are you this person? Oh, okay, cool, here's a solution. So go through a story. You can bring in the emotions, you can bring in the negatives, how you felt about the thing that happened, the positives, what was actually on the line here, what was at stake, how important was it that you got this solved and overcame this massive problem, and how extreme was the problem as well, how much did this really cut you down. And I want to give you a reference for this also. And the reference is going to be Ajay Pinnock. Ajay is a content creator, so to speak. His entire job is working with people in the content space, and he's big on his storytelling as well. So if I were you, I'd strongly recommend go ahead, have a look at his page and see the type of stories and type of content that he produces, and by all means you can get a bit more of a feel for the whole idea of storytelling and maybe implement this into some stories that you've had with clients, some stories that you've had in your personal life, and how people can learn from this as well. And if you've learned something from it too, just try and preach that message too, and that's going to give you a really strong story. So visual hooks, storytelling, you'll be well on your way. The next one that we have here is pattern interrupts. So what do I mean by pattern interrupts? Pattern interrupts is, it's kind of similar to the visual hook, but it is a change up in the scenery, a change up in the physical appearance of the video, be it through a transition, be it through a image popping up on the screen, so on and so forth. There are things that can happen, something that re-engages your attention every couple of seconds to make sure that you continue to watch the video. Because obviously this is YouTube, it's a little bit different from, just your standard from your standard short form content, because, well, you're here to get educated, you're going to sit down and actually give this your full attention. But when it comes to short form content, that's not always the case. You're competing against other people doing short form content, you're competing against other people who are trying to catch the attention of the viewer, and, well, don't lose. So you can implement pattern interrupts. And the reference for this as well is a man named Grayson, whose profile I'll show you now. So Grayson, once again, he's a content guru, and you'll probably notice a common theme here. Everybody thus far specializes in content. Like I said, if you're looking for financial advice, you go to a financial advisor. If you're looking for health advice, you go to a doctor. If you're looking for advice in your content, you can take it from these guys. And yeah, by all means, they have absolutely nothing to do with the mortgage industry, but it doesn't mean that you can't learn from them or you can't implement ideas that they have to help you in your business. So I'd recommend go ahead and have a look through Grayson's content. You'll notice with a lot of his videos, especially the talking head videos, and when I say talking head, I just mean ones where he's talking to the camera. So for example, this one, and go through, and you'll see his pattern interrupts and the visual disruptions that come up on the screen as well. He has a video specifically dedicated to this as well, so if you scroll through, I'm sure you'll find that if you look hard enough as well. So I'll just give away the last one. Oh no, my retention will be ruined. We've got call to action / lead magnet giveaways. So what do I mean by this? I mean, you can do your storytelling, you can create a video about a specific problem, you can provide a solution, but at the end of it, you're going to want to give your audience something tangible. So let's say, are you suffering with this problem? Oh wow, well I found the solution to this already, go into this big, deep story, engage in the audience, so on and so forth. But then you can explain to them, I actually have this physical solution in the form of a info product, for example, or a PDF, whatever it may be, and I'm willing to give it to you. All you have to do is comment this, and I'll send it over completely for free. And what this is going to do is not only are you actually helping people for free and building that trust, but it gets them into your DMs. And whenever they're in your DMs, you can book them onto a call. And don't get me wrong, you're going to get people who aren't ready to buy now, but if you can get a conversation in with that person over the phone or over a Zoom call, then who do you think they're going to be more inclined to want to work with when it comes to actually putting pen to paper, So reference for this is going to be Jason Cooperson. I'll show you his account now. Once again, Jason specializes in the content industry. If you go ahead and look through, especially the majority of his older videos, which is when he really started to build his audience and develop a strong core of people who valued him and valued his content, you'll see all of his giveaways down here. Every single one of these videos and the entire way that he built his audience was off of huge problem, huge unbelievable solution. If you want this huge unbelievable solution, comment this and I'll send it over. And he developed a community helping people with their own content, thousands and thousands and thousands just to get into the community. And he's making some serious money off the back of that. So by all means, go ahead, have a look through Jason Cooperson's content and see exactly what I mean by that call to action and lead magnet giveaway. Provide that value to your audience, develop that trust through goodwill, and the law of reciprocity will make its way back to you, by all means. And the last one here, dynamic angles. This might sound a little bit weird for anybody who doesn't know what I mean by this, but I just mean switching up the way that you record. So for example, this video has been shot with 2 angles. Now I'm sitting here on the computer like this. Earlier I was sitting over on the chair with the light and everything like that. I still have the light on, by the way. But it was talking head, now it is a computer walkthrough. And the best example that I can give for this is to just go back to personal brand launch, Ava. So when it comes to Ava, you'll see with all of her content, the camera never stays still. It never stays still, regardless of what video it is. It's always a different room, a different angle, the camera being in a different position. There's so much going on, always. So I recommend that you go ahead and have a look through. I think this is one of the only videos whereby it's always in the same position. There, that's a new angle, a new camera angle. We'll probably see some more here as well. Back to the same one. But you see my point. you want to change up the angles. There's things that you can do to increase the engagement on that video, to make it more dynamic and keep people's attention as well. Once again, you're competing against people who are trying to get the attention of your viewers, but we don't want to lose viewers to our competitors who are doing better just because we took a step back and didn't implement the stuff that we knew we could have been doing. So that's everything for today. I hope that this has been in some way helpful. I'm not saying that there is any massive issues with what's going on in the mortgage industry at the minute when it comes to content, but by all means, things can always be improved. Continue doing what you're doing if you find yourself in that initial boat. If you haven't started whatsoever, then by all means, I recommend that you do get started. You'll get better over time. It doesn't need to be perfect straight away. The more volume that you put out, the better that you'll adapt. And if you are looking to step things up and do a little bit better with how your content is currently doing, then yeah, go ahead and start implementing some of this stuff. Start telling stories. Start implementing visual hooks. Start changing up the angles at which you record. Start introducing pattern interrupts. Start introducing more professional editing as well. There's so many things that you can do to really take this to the next level and make your stuff top notch, and that's what's going to leave an impression on the people that see your page. So I hope you find this useful. If you want any more information, then you can go over to my Instagram where I post more content as well, completely free. And if you can't be bothered to do it yourself and you want me to do it for you, then you can click on the first link where you and I can have a chat about what you're looking to do. And yeah, heads up, this is about potentially working with me, but worst case scenario, maybe you come away with some new ideas. But that's the first link in the description. So appreciate you tuning in for this one. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you in the next video too. Take care.